What's going on, world? Welcome back to my channel. It's been a couple of weeks since I posted, and last weekend was just a little more hectic than usual, just in general. We all kind of have an idea of what's been happening in the country and how people of color are just seeming to be, we're seeming to be fed up, or at least close to a point where we're fed up with the continued mistreatment and abuse of or by people in certain positions of power towards us. So a lot of people have been protesting for the past week and a half since the most recent cases of police brutality. And I mean, look, personally, I think it's a good thing for people to be able to express themselves in an open and, in all honesty, in a legal way. It's one of our, constitutional rights to be able to um I'm sorry, I woke up not too long ago. I'm trying to get my thoughts together. But it's one of our constitutional rights to be able to have the freedom of speech, and so we're using that to, just kind of push the message of what it is that we've been saying for a long time. And I know it's taken a while for others who don't look like us, and some that do look like us, to get on board in terms of understanding where people like Colin Kaepernick were coming from when they decided to kneel during the anthem, and other people who've spoken out, you know, way before that. This has been going on for a long time, but it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's good that we have the evidence to present, even more evidence to present to people that don't look like us, that this is what's been going on. And that's been enough to get others kind of outraged and like, whoa, this has been happening, like. And that's important. But yeah, so that's been happening, obviously. If you're not in the US, then maybe you don't know about all that stuff that's happening, but that's a big thing right now, along with still trying to get over the pandemic that's hit, the world in a pretty hard way. So all of that stuff's been happening, and protests are still going on, rioting is still going on, and we're gonna get through it. It's really been having me think a lot about what we can do as Black people in terms of um, empowering ourselves. Like these are the type of situations and opportunities that allow us to kind of rise up and maybe decide to do. I've talked about this before. Kind of decide to do our own thing. Like have our own, uh, cities or our own areas where we I don't know, where we have successful Black people doing a lot of the same things that our white counterparts and other people are doing as well, but just doing it in a way that supports the Black community, and still working with everybody, but really setting a good foundation for ourselves and for our children in the future. So that's really been running through my mind a lot, and even the possibility of going elsewhere. Maybe not staying in the U.S., going elsewhere, and starting that type of situation where almost thinking of like Wakanda and Black Panther, for any of those that are in the comic movies. But that was really inspiring, even though it wasn't real. But it was kind of like to see a nation of Black people doing really good things, being successful in the world, but then also working with the world at the same time, but having their own and being established and not being dependent on any other nations to succeed or to prosper. So that thought's been going through my mind a lot too. Like, what would that look like if we were to put ourselves in that type of situation? But we'll see how that develops. Small baby steps. As you can see, I got some plastic wrap over my headboard. I'm still doing work in here, obviously. I have I have the flooring down. I have the baseboards down, which is not too far from from where I was when I spoke last to the YouTube nation. But I've also taken a lot of things out. Like back there used to be some glass mirrors that were almost 8 feet tall. I took those out on both sides of the closet, so the closets are just open and exposed now. I took the door to the bathroom off. That's not the door open, that's the door off. That's how it looks all the time right now until I install that barn style door that I'm planning to install. So there's still a good amount of things on the checklist that need to be checked off, but they'll get done. It's all good. They'll get done. I'm just kind of taking my time. There was a point in the beginning where I was really trying to rush things and do things quickly. And I think I got to a point where I realized that doing it that way wasn't going to be effective for me for this first time. For the first time, I kind of had to take my time, plan everything out, think about how I wanted to do things before just jumping into it. Because what I found was I would make a plan in my mind, decide I wanted to do things a certain way, and then after I ripped things out, took things off, and kind of got to a point where I couldn't really recover from whatever I had done, I changed my mind and decided, okay, I wanted to do something a different way. That happened a couple of times, and that's because I was kind of trying to rush, and I would come up with an idea, and then the next day or even sometimes that day I would try to implement that idea, and then the day after I would say, that's probably not the way I want to go. So now I'm really sitting on ideas before I decide to implement any action to them. So I've been going slow on purpose. I'm not in a rush. The way I look at it, I have at least until September, which is when the job I'm at decides, whether they're going to furlough people, which means lay people off with the possibility of them being able to come back, or if they're going to lay people off just altogether, like just, lay off where you don't have the opportunity to come back. So, we'll see what happens after September. But until then, I'm just going to kind of keep working on things and doing my thing and trying to make this place the best it can be. What else we got going on in the world? Got a lot going on in the world. I still, you know what? I'm happy that a couple of people have reached out to me recently and asked me questions around the topic of sex and just kind of things that they were interested in knowing. I appreciate that because I'm here as, a person who can help remind you of things you already know. And I always say that, in the world of sexuality, most people think that they don't know certain things, but I'm a believer that everybody on some really deep internal level knows a lot of this stuff, but they just, forgot over their lifespan. And I'm just here as a reminder. I'm here to kind of open you up to things that may have gone over your head or things that you just might not have considered over time. But you know this, you know this stuff and you can do this. So I encourage anybody who has questions or concerns around sex, hit me up, DM me on Instagram. It's Born to Explore, same handle as it is here. You can write a comment in the comment section below this video if you want, or any of the videos that I post up. And just get at me. Let me know what's up. Let me know what's on your mind. because I might be able to remind you of something that you may have forgotten. You know, I'm all about that. I enjoy doing it. It keeps me sharp, and it's always a fun topic to talk about, and having the ability to help people around that topic is very rewarding, and it's empowering for the people that I'm able to help as well. So don't hesitate if you have any questions or comments or concerns around sex. And speaking of sex, are you having a lot of sex right now? I mean, are you guys getting it in? Having a lot of safe sex, hopefully, with, whoever your partner or partners are, still, following guidelines in terms of keeping social distance and all that. I mean, that's when you've been dealing with somebody even before this whole thing started. It's hard to say that now you're going to start implementing social distancing practices, during this time. So that I understand, but just be as safe as you can be to where you feel like you're doing your part in terms of keeping that person safe and keeping yourself safe as well. Don't get reckless is all I'm saying. Um, do what you can to stay safe enough. It's a beautiful day in San Diego. It's about 5:30 right now. 5:30, 5:45. And like I said, I just woke up not too long ago. Helped a friend celebrate his birthday. Happy birthday to Earl. Um, we did the whole Zoom thing and had, most of the group on there. Yeah, I think that's all I got for today. No need to make this video super long. Just if you're one of the people out there protesting, I haven't gone out to any of the protests, and uh, there's no particular reason. I just haven't felt necessarily compelled to go out and protest. But I appreciate the fact that there are people out there lending their voice, expressing their thoughts, expressing their emotion through these marches and in all other ways. My way is, talking about it on the internet. That's my, not therapy, but that's my form of expression. Um, but for the people who are going out there and engaging in marches and protesting, just be safe, be careful. Uh, you're going out there and you might get met with opposition. There's a very good chance in certain cities and certain areas. And so just kind of be prepared for that mentally and psychologically, I guess. But on that note, I'll end it. I hope everybody a safe Saturday, a safe weekend, and until next time, hopefully, I can go live on the next one. It'll be earlier too. If I went live now, most people would have been asleep because a lot of people are on the East Coast. So not asleep, but it would have been like dark for people. So I figured I'd just do it on the phone again, and I'll try to go live on the computer next week, and it'll be a little bit earlier in the day. All right, so enjoy your weekend. Love y'all. Peace.